then we have a problem. We will not give up this piece of land which we think belongs to us. And the UN suggested, the members of the UN, let's start off being the Commonwealth, and in the course of time, you could always remove yourself. As we know, other countries did the same thing in the course of time. But in order to establish the state, and there should be peace without any war, without any killings and all that, let's start a Commonwealth site. And later on, you decide what you want to do. The delegation said, we're not interested in that. We want to be on our own. So that's how the state started, and that's how things went. Now, we have a problem with the other side, with the Palestinians, who demand that they feel that they need certain areas. They want more than what the UN has given them. They want all of Israel. Because if you read the newspapers in the last few years, even Arafat especially, he came out clearly many times that the whole area from north down to south and east and west all belongs only to the Palestinians, to the Arabs, and the Jew has no right to be there. They didn't want to accept the UN decision. They claim that everything belongs to them. Well, they realized that's not going to happen so easy, so then they decided, let's see, maybe we could share. What was their intention to say to share? Let them get a foothold, a beachhead, on a piece of Israel, of Eretz Yisrael, and from there, they should be able to move. And as they really just said again lately, just 2 weeks ago, some of the leaders of the Hamas said, our intention is to get part of Israel now and to push them into the Mediterranean. That's going to be our goal. Now, our question is, what can we do, what can we not do? We approach this from two areas, from two viewpoints. There's the halachic viewpoint, and there's the security viewpoint. According to halakha, we have no right to forfeit 1 inch, 1 piece of Israel, because it's against the Torah. They said that all of Israel belongs to the Jewish people. And this is what Hashem wanted. We have to follow what Hashem wanted. Then we have the security problem. Now let's take what happened recently last year, which is Gaza. When we were a delegation by Sharon, Mr. Sharon, who is out of Fort Flamer, I asked him a very simple question. I say, you yourself know, and you yourself have stated many times, that these people are not interested in peace. They're interested in grabbing everything. By you removing yourself, leaving a part of Israel which is going to bring them closer to the center of Eretz Yisrael, don't you anticipate what's going to happen as a result of that? That there's going to be more terror, more attacks, more suicide bombing? And I asked Mr. Prime Minister, I want your honest word. By the way, Mr. Sharon came to the Rebbe many times, I say many, about 4 or 5 times, and when he was there I had many discussions with him. He knew me very well, and therefore I was able to speak to him because he used to tell us what the Rebbe told him, and in the course of his being Prime Minister the last year or two, I sent him the excerpts of the discussions that he had with the Rebbe, what the Rebbe had advised him. And let me tell you, when we sat down in his office, I told him, Mr. Prime Minister, you know, you're sitting with Chassidim, and I consider you for a chassid also, so this is what we call a Hasidic Fahrein. So he said, you mean to say that we have to get some schnapps to say l'chaim? I said, exactly. So he ordered to bring in the mashke, the vodka, and he put on his yarmulke, and he made a bracha, and then he said, before the rabbi speak, I want to speak. And he started telling us of things that he heard from the Rebbe in 1978, 1980, 1984, and he said to all of us sitting there, and he had 4 or 5 of his people around him. There were 2 of his men advisors, and he had 3 secretaries sitting there. And he said, as he was speaking to them, he said, they know, I want to tell you. When the rabbi spoke to me, he said, I'll give you one example, he said. The Rebbe told me in 1978 that there'll be a time that in Hebron, an Arab will attack a Jewish boy, and the Jewish boy will like to try to defend himself, and the Israeli army is going to come, and guess whom they're going to arrest? The Rebbe asked Mr. Sharon. And the Rebbe said, you know what they're going to arrest? Not the Arab kid, but the Jewish boy. And Mr. Sharon says, just 2 years ago, this is what happened. At the time, I couldn't understand what the Rebbe is telling me. But now I saw from my own eyes. In Hebron, Arabs started throwing stones on the Jewish kids. The Jewish kids tried to defend themselves. When the army came and the Jewish boy said, look, this one started, come on. And they took the Jewish boy and they took them to jail. He says, look, this is only one detail of what the Rebbe foresaw was going to happen in later years. And then he said, I could tell you many more things that the Rebbe told me, which at the time, I couldn't believe that such a thing could happen in Israel. And unfortunately, the Rebbe's words came true. And he was telling his people, you don't know who this man was. He was such a great holy man that his foresight and his ability to see what's going to happen was so great. I saw that he was a little bit, he got warmed up, so to say. So then we started speaking. So I asked him this question, you tell me. Tell me the truth I want. You don't feel that by doing this, you're endangering the country? He said, let me tell you something. Not everything does everybody know. From my view, from my standpoint, where I'm standing, I see great dangers if we're not going to do it. He didn't tell me that he doesn't anticipate that these things will happen as a result of leaving Gaza. He felt that there are greater things. So I told him, you know yourself, and I had right in front of me the piece of paper, what the Rebbe told you in 1982. The Rebbe told you that that attitude is going to destroy Israel. Because as a result of that, you're constantly going to worry. Can I react? Can I respond? Can I do this? Why? Because if I do it, it's going to be worse. And just yesterday, we saw what happened. They came, they killed two soldiers, which, how they came in, we don't know yet, which was a great, great negligence on part of the Israeli army. And in fact, there's a big investigation going on now. How was that available? They captured this soldier. So what happened? The defense minister came and ordered that we should mass a tremendous amount of army with all the equipment on the border of Gaza. And the army was ready, just waiting for the green light, and we're going in and we're going to take care of things. No! What does Mr. Peretz say, the defense minister? I'm afraid that'll do more harm to Jews than it won't. So the Rebbe asked him a question. You know what you're saying? The Rebbe told Sharon, and I showed him that that was written in his name when he repeated from the Rebbe. The Rebbe is saying in simple words that you are saying to the Arabs, do whatever you want, because we're not going to retaliate. We're afraid to retaliate. We're afraid that if we retaliate, you'll do even more work. And the Rebbe tells him, and I have it written down, and I gave it to him, I left it in his office. The Rebbe told him that from experience that we saw, whenever Israel retaliated with strength, they stopped. They calmed down. They got frightened, they do anything. As soon as you allow them to do one thing and second thing and they saw there's no retaliation, that increased their activity. There were more suicide bombs. There were more rockets coming. And the Rebbe said you have to realize that the Arabs will do continually unless they see a strong hand. To not to retaliate, the Rebbe says, that's a sign of weakness, and the Arabs harp on that, and that gives them the strength to go further. Now when you speak peace, for peace, peace is not for peace, peace is for terror. Peace is for killing more Jewish people. This type of peace. And not, no one make a mistake about this, Mr. Abbas. When Abbas took over, after Arafat passed to died, and Abbas took over, I still have in my files, what was the first statement that this Mr. Abbas said? And he was standing by the funeral of Mr. Arafat. He says, they called him Mr. Chairman, don't worry, we're going to continue in your footsteps. We're going to do exactly what you had intended to do, which is to take over all of Palestine. So I was in Washington, in the White House a few years ago, and I spoke to condolence